Hello and welcome to the Alaska Seminar Series. My name is Valerie Stimmick-Bailey and I run the travel blog Valerie and Valise, as well as the YouTube channel of the same name and the Destination Alaska podcast. I am so excited to be back with you. If you found this video, whether you are searching for information about Palmer or you are just getting shown it in the algorithm, you are in an amazing place because Palmer, Alaska is cool. I always go like this. It's cool, y'all. I grew up not far from Palmer, but not in Palmer. And every time I go back to Alaska, I seem to find myself there. So I'm really, really excited to have Palmer joining the seminar series this year. A little bit of housekeeping before we get started. Dylainie from the Palmer Museum and Visitor Center is going to give us a presentation. She's going to teach us all about things to do in Palmer, things you need to know to visit, and what's especially relevant for 2026. And then we're going to do a Q&A. And this was pre-recorded, so the questions that we're going to answer were pre-submitted by my community. But if you have questions while you're watching the video, please just go ahead and put them in the comments on YouTube. If you are listening to the audio-only version, unfortunately, there's no way to comment on a podcast episode. So what you need to do is either go to YouTube to post your comments or go on social media. Instagram is pretty much the easiest. And what you'll do is either find me at Valerie Valise or you will find Palmer Museum and Visitor Center. And Dylainie, I'm sure, will tell us their social media so you can find them exactly. And yeah, anytime you have a question, that's the easiest way to reach out on social media. I think that just about covers it on my end. So I'm going to get out of the way because I'm excited to learn more about what's new in Palmer in 2026. And Dylainie, the floor is yours.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Valerie. I'm really excited to be here today. My name is Dylainie Nathlich. I'm the Executive Director of the Palmer Museum of History and Art. We also serve as the Visitor Center for the greater Palmer area. On that first slide, Valerie's photo, I believe it was taken in Hatcher Pass. That's an area that's just north of Palmer. It's very popular with both visitors and locals for day trips. But I wanted to start with an image that really captures the essence of Palmer. Here we're looking at a classic colony-era barn with its distinctive gambrel roof set against the always impressive backdrop of Pioneer Peak. Pioneer Peak was given its name in 1939 to honor the Matanuska Valley colonists. However, it had a name given by the Dylainie people called Denali, or the one that watches us. I know Denali's the big mountain, but it's also a similar name that's given to a lot of large mountains around the area. It's also important to remember before we get started that the Palmer area has been continuously inhabited for more than 10,000 years. For the past 2,000 years, this region has been the traditional homeland of the Otna and Dylainie people. At the Palmer Museum and Visitor Center, you can learn more about their deep connection to this land, as well as the indigenous place names for the mountains, rivers, and other landmarks throughout the area. We'll return to this topic about the land and its history later on in the presentation, but I wanted to get started with why Palmer? So the city's official motto is Alaska at its best, and it truly is. But many of us who live here like to think of it as Alaska's best kept secret. Palmer really has it all. Glaciers, fishing, hunting, rich history, beautiful gardens, art, the Alaska Raceway Park, a fantastic golf course, great dining and shopping, lakes and rivers, farms, skiing, hiking, biking, RVing, camping, and of course, Palmer is home to the Alaska State Fair. Because of all this, Palmer makes a perfect hub for a getaway. If you want to escape the crowds while still experiencing everything Alaska has to offer, Palmer is the ideal destination for you and your family. I want to mention a few things on this slide. We have these little circle emblems on the bottom. Those are badges that were given out by the Mat-Su Conventions and Visitors Bureau with their new branding, and I'm really excited about them. So you'll see them throughout the presentation. Palmer and this greater area, we have 5 of those badges, so I feel very honored. Another thing to mention on this slide is the photo of those lovely ladies. I believe they're at the reindeer farm, one of the many places you can visit while you're here in Palmer. But I just want to really emphasize that we truly do think that this is Alaska's best kept secret, just because of the many things you can do here. Okay, so speaking of many things, it's a multi-day destination base. So you can use Palmer as your base camp, and you can easily take a day to visit each of these incredible landmarks. So I'll just start with the first one on the left. The Matanuska Glacier, it's the largest glacier in the United States that you can access by car. It's It's about an hour to an hour and a half east of Palmer. And then we have the Butte, which is a favorite local hike that rewards you with stunning panoramic views of the Matanuska Valley and the Knik Glacier. Its official name is the Bodenberg Butte, but locals call it just the Butte. Next up, we have the Knik Glacier. It is also one of the largest glaciers in south central Alaska. And it was even the filming location for an episode of Star Trek, I believe. I think it was a Klingon planet. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm not a Trekkie. But there's some cool history about movies with the Knik Glacier. And then our last is Hatcher Pass. It's a beautiful mountain pass through the Talkeetna Mountains, which is just north of Palmer. And it's home to the historic Independence Mine State Park. So you can learn about the gold mining that happened in that area and explore the buildings. They have lots of tours. There's also plenty of hiking options in the Hatcher Pass area. So there's so many different things that you can do outside of Palmer. But what about inside? So during your stay in town, either before or after your adventures, you can take some time to explore downtown Palmer. We have more than 40 retail shops where you're sure to find a perfect gift or souvenir to take back home. If all of that exploring makes you hungry, you're in luck. Palmer has over 20 restaurants to choose from. And if you're looking to unwind, we have 3 local breweries right here in town. Not into beer? No problem. Palmer is also home to a one-of-a-kind kombucha cafe full of local charm, and dozens of coffee shops to help fuel your next adventure. And be sure to save time on Friday to explore downtown, because during the summer months, we have our Friday Fling, which is a local event downtown. Tons of vendors, food, there's usually live music. It's a great chance to really see the local life in Palmer. Speaking of local life, beyond the adventures and the shopping, Palmer is well known as the agricultural capital of Alaska. You'll find everything here, from dairy farms to flower farms to the muskox farm and the reindeer farm. There are plenty of tours available that give visitors a firsthand look at farm life in Palmer. For an easy up-close glimpse into our growing season and beautiful blooms, be sure to stop by the Showcase Garden in downtown Palmer as well. And I do want to throw in a fun fact. In the 1950s, Palmer was considered the dairy capital of Alaska and was home to the well-known Matanuska Maid Dairy Company. You can learn more about this part of history at the Palmer Museum of History and Art during your visit as well. So we have a couple photos here. That furry-looking animal on the left, that is a muskox. The muskox farm is such a fun place to go, especially when they have babies. They're just the cutest things ever. And then we have a shot of just some local farms, and next to that, we have some very large vegetables with awards on them, prize ribbons. This is a part of the Alaska State Fair. We're home to those giant growing vegetables that you can see there, as well as in our showcase garden. I know I've been talking about history quite a bit. That's because downtown Palmer is one of the most historically significant areas in Alaska and is officially listed on the National Register of Historic Places. This designation recognizes the unique architecture and cultural heritage that came out of that 1935 Matanuska Colony project. As you stroll through downtown, you'll see many of the original colony-era buildings still standing today, some now home to shops, cafes, and local businesses, blending the history with modern life and giving Palmer its small-town charm. 2 great spots to dive deeper into Palmer's story are the Colony House Museum and the Palmer Museum of History and Art, where you can learn more about the Matanuska Colony and the other parts of Palmer's history before and after the colony project. Being on the National Register helps us preserve these historic buildings and ensure that visitors can continue to explore and experience the rich history of this unique town. A lot of the families that were a part of the colony project do still live in the Palmer area today, and we're very lucky to have such an amazing community that holds such great history. Done with the boring history stuff, on to the gigantic glaciers. Two of the most accessible and impressive in South Central Alaska, the Knik and Matanuska Glacier. The Matanuska Glacier is the largest glacier in the United States that you can drive right up to. Over 27 miles long and more than 3,500 feet thick in some places. It's constantly moving about 1 inch per hour, and its striking blue ice makes it a favorite spot for photographers, hikers, and adventure seekers. That photo there on the right, that is of the Matanuska Glacier. I took that photo on my first tour ever about 5 years ago. And they just give you so many fantastic photo ops on those tours. Just a short drive away from town, the Knik Glacier is also another massive glacier that's stretching around 25 miles long. It's known for its incredible ice falls and dramatic scenery. And you can also go on a couple different helicopter tours, maybe get the chance to go paddle boarding out there. I believe there's a dog sled team that lives out on the Knik Glacier for the summer. So there's lots of opportunities to explore and have adventures out on these glaciers. And what's really great about the Palmer area is that it's accessible. The greater Palmer area is a paradise for outdoor enthusiasts, offering such a wide variety of trails for all skill levels. For a gentle stroll or family-friendly hike, there are numerous valley trails that wind through scenic farmland, rivers, and forests, perfect for spotting wildlife or enjoying wildflowers in the summer. So I have them kind of listed out here on the slide. The green is the easy hikes, the yellow is the mild hikes, and the darker orange is the more difficult hikes, I guess you could say. So those green ones, those are the easy stroll. We have the rail trail that's right in town. That's the Palmer Moose Creek Trail. Or we have Reflections Lake, which is a little south of Palmer, or the Matanuska River Trail. That's great for biking as well. And sometimes in the summer months, you can see that funny looking bird on the right-hand side. That's a sandhill crane. For those harder hikes, we have the Bodenberg Butte. It is a little challenging. They say there's quite a few hundred stairs to get up to the top. Or we have Gold Cord Lake, which is up in Hatcher Pass. And you can see I have a picture that's out there in that Hatcher Pass area as well. And some fun animals you can see out there is the marmot. If you listen closely, you can hear them scream sometimes, which is a lot of fun. And if you're really up for a challenge, those harder hikes, Lazy Mountain, Blueberry Knoll, or the Reed Lakes trails. And if you wanted to even challenge yourself more, you could climb Pioneer Peak or Matanuska Peak. But that's a tough one, so. But you can do so much all year round in Palmer. It's not just a summer destination. For snow enthusiasts, there's cross-country ski trails, snowshoeing, and fat tire biking. Hatcher Pass is a favorite for backcountry skiing and snowboarding, as well as snow machining adventures in the area. We also have a ski area called Ski Talk. I believe there's a ski lift there, and it's one of the more affordable places to go skiing in Alaska. If you prefer something a bit more relaxed, winter is perfect for ice fishing, cozy visits to the local cafes in town, or exploring winter wildlife in the scenic Matanuska Valley. And of course, the snow-covered farms and colony-era buildings downtown make for a picture-perfect winter stroll. Palmer's combination of outdoor adventure, charming small-town atmosphere, and easy access to the surrounding mountains makes it a must-visit destination in winter. Okay, so there's so much to explore, but before you head out, it's important to keep safety in mind. Weather can change quickly around here, especially in the mountains, so always dress in layers. Bring water and let someone know of your plans, please. I know we have a lot of independent travelers, but it's very important that you let someone know where you're going. If you're venturing onto glaciers, trails, or backcountry areas, consider hiring a guide or joining a tour to stay safe. There's tons of local tour guides that would be happy to take you onto the glaciers or into the mountains, and they know their way around, so you won't get lost. The Palmer Visitor Center is also a great resource for visitors. Here you can find maps, trail guides, and information on local attractions, as well as tips on wildlife safety and seasonal conditions. We can also help you plan activities, suggest hidden gems, and provide insight into Palmer's history, culture, and local events. Visiting the center is a great way to start your adventure prepared and informed, ensuring your time in Palmer is both safe and unforgettable. I do want to mention one thing on this slide, the picture of the moose. We like to call them the giant 12-year-olds of the area. They'll just run straight in front of your car. So please keep your eye out, drive slow, because those moose, they'll just run straight to you. Okay, so planning your stay. The best time to visit the Palmer area is during the summer, June through August, for hiking, wildlife, and other local festivals that we have, like the Friday Fling. I would say the fall is also a really good time. That's when the Alaska State Fair is happening. It's usually late August or early September, but you want to check their website for when it's actually going to happen. As far as getting around, it's best to rent a car in the area. There's not a ton of public transit, and I don't believe there's really Uber or Lyft out here. So having a rental car is the best bet, especially if you make this your base camp and doing those day-long adventures out to the Matanuska Glacier or Hatcher Pass. Having that rental car is really key. Where to stay? There's a lot of cozy little Airbnbs around. We don't have many, if any, of those big hotels in the area, but we do have small local hotels in downtown Palmer, and there's usually room for people to stay over the summertime. So some must-have things, like I said before, layers, waterproof gear is very important. It rains quite a bit here. And don't forget to bring your binoculars, especially if you're going out to the glaciers. Being on those helicopter tours, it's really great to have a pair of binoculars as well. So just some local tips. Check our events calendar on the visitpalmer.com website. It should be up to date with all the events that are happening throughout the summer. Don't forget to try local farmers markets. There are plenty that happen throughout the summer, as well as our Bush's Bunches farm stand here in town. You try those wonderful Alaska grown products. Well, I know that was tons of information, but Palmer truly offers something for everyone. There's breathtaking glaciers, scenic trails, rich history, vibrant culture, and year-round outdoor activities. Whether you're exploring the backcountry, strolling downtown, visiting farms, or enjoying local events, Palmer is a destination that combines Alaska's natural beauty with its small-town charm. I hope this presentation has given you a glimpse of all the adventures, history, and experiences waiting here in Palmer for you, and inspired you to make your next getaway. Thank you.
Thank you. That was so good. So listeners, viewers, Dylainie was nervous, but she did so good. And I think your slides were like some of the most beautifully designed. So if you're listening or watching at home, can you please give her a round of applause? Yeah, you look weird, but she needs that encouragement. So she'll come back and teach us about Palmer again next year. Oh, that was amazing. Thank you. Yeah, so let me get it back to us. I think I can just go like this and we can start to talk about Q&A, though you did cover a lot of the Q&A in your slides already, which was great. So as I said at the top, this was pre-recorded, so the questions were submitted in advance, but if you have questions, just put them in the comments of the video or reach out on social media. As I said, I'm at Valerie Valise, and what is the best account for people to get in touch with you?
Well, we have two different Instagram accounts. We have the museum side, so it's at Palmer Museum on Instagram, and then we have at Visit Palmer AK. That's the Visitor Center Instagram. So either works fine. We also have the two Facebook pages. So shoot me a message on Messenger. We'll get back to you.
I thought just having one of each of those was tough. That's a lot.
It is a lot.
Okay, well, let's get to some of the questions, and then now people know how to get in touch if they have other questions. I feel like you did a good job of this. I just want to acknowledge we got a question about fairs and markets in Palmer. You did cover that. You also did include a QR code. So if you were viewing this and you're still wondering, just like skip back like 3 minutes, and there's a QR code that links to all the events that are happening. That seems like probably the best way, instead of trying to ask you off the top of your head to think of a bunch of new ones. You mentioned there's a lot of shops, which is amazing. Do you have any that you recommend when people come into the visitor center and ask? Or, well, first of all, I will say, having been to the museum and visitor center, you guys have a great shop with local products. So I want to call that out. But anywhere else you'd point people if they were asking?
Other than us, so we have about 45 different local artisans just in the Palmer Museum gift shop. But if you just do a stroll downtown, all of those stores that are there, they have really great products. And that's your best bet for finding something. Just
Cool.
taking that time, your time, and strolling through downtown Palmer.
Yeah, and I will say if you are curious when you're walking around shopping, look for the Made in Alaska symbol, which is this little, if I remember, it's like a little polar bear. It looks like
Hmm.
a nested polar bears. There's also the silver hand, which indicates something is made by an Alaska native. And especially in Palmer, there is the Alaska grown sticker, which means that it is something which was grown in the state and probably, if you're buying in Palmer, probably in Palmer, to be honest. So those are some little logos you can keep an eye out for if you're curious and want to find something which is truly local. Here is one. This is a curveball. I do not know this one. What are the options for fishing, or where would you recommend people go?
So I would recommend ultimately hire a guide. Um,
Okay.
if you're not into that sort of thing, the go-to spots are the Eklutna Tail Race. I
Okay.
believe they have kings in early May and silver salmon later in the summertime, but you definitely want to check the Fish and Wildlife website. I looked it up today and they have like a stocking, not stocking, but like fish stocking, like you're stocking a lake. They
Yeah,
have
I got you.
a, a tracker, so you can search a lake and see if it's been stocked. Um, that's kind of a neat way to know where to go fishing. I know that Summit Lake up in Hatcher Pass is also stocked with rainbow trout and grayling. But yeah, there's tons of options, I think there's about 15 to 20 lakes, accessible lakes in the Palmer area. So
Cool.
lots of options for
Yeah.
fishing.
Yeah. And I'll throw out a little tag on trivia that I just learned because I am not in Alaska and I don't go fishing very much when I am up there is that if you decide you want to go fishing and you have gear or you decide to rent gear, you can get your license online. So you can decide that day. You don't have to like go to a store or fill out a paper form, which even a few years ago, you did used to have to do that, which is really convenient. So just head to the Alaska Fishing Game website and you can get information about where there are fish and how to be properly licensed so you don't have any problems with fishing game if you're out having a good time. Cool. Okay, one more question for you. I feel like you did touch on some family friendly activities, but I want to call them out. One, because I have a little one who I travel with, but also I'm clearly not the only one. So, what would you recommend for kids of different ages?
I think for all kids, really, Friday Fling for sure. It's fun to go see the different vendors and have the food options there. But there's also the muskox farm and the reindeer farm. The reindeer farm doesn't have just reindeer. They have tons of different animals there. The last time I was there, I think there was a few alpaca and those Highland cows and some turkeys, and maybe you can pet a moose. So there's lots of things to do at the reindeer farm. Aside from those two things, I think just the accessible trails that we have, they're really kid friendly, especially Reflections Lake is really nice for kids as well. Um, and of course, during fair time is probably the best for families.
Yeah,
Tons of vendors and games for the kids to play. So,
games, rides, all
mhm.
kinds of souvenirs you don't need to buy. Like I said, I grew up, in Eagle River, which is 30, 45 minutes from Palmer, and I went to the fair a lot as a kid growing up. And I still remember some of the souvenirs that I would buy there. And I'm like, why did I need my hand dipped in wax? Like, why did I need a knit hat? Why did I need all those stickers for my Nalgene, which really dates me in the era of the things you can buy. But yeah, it's really good for kids. So if you're visiting, usually like the midway point in August through Labor Day weekend. That's usually when the fair runs. And you might have noticed that while we've been chatting, a little bubble popped up at the top. For that question, I have a review of the reindeer farm, including tips for traveling with kids there. Because in October of 2025, I went there with my little one and she was not even two. So it is good even for little kids. And then other points of the video, you would have seen other relevant, helpful information. So just check those out when you see them pop up, or scroll back and forth to find those. I think that's all the questions that I have now. As a reminder, if you have any other questions as you're watching this or you're listening, reach out on social media, comment on the YouTube video, whatever works best for you. I keep an eye on those comments all year long. And if I don't know the answer, I have Dylainie's email and I can get in touch with her. She also did provide the website, and I think it had your email on there. It did. It had your email on there. So scroll back a little bit. You'll find that as well. And with that, I will just wrap it up and say thank you so much for joining me, Dylainie. I can't wait to hear what's new in Palmer next year.
Thanks, Valerie. Of course, there's going to be tons of new things next year as well.
Thanks.